Russell Wilson, payday, highest paid athlete ever. $140 million and $65 million for, are you ready? Are you watching? For doing this. Russell Wilson. I don't know how he does it. I'm just saying that $65 million for just signing his name on the dotted line. I mean, you ever seen the movie Twins, right? With Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito, right? Remember that? And Danny DeVito goes, $4 million. Say it out loud. $4 million. Remember when $4 million was a lot of money? Now it's chicken scratch, man. It's nothing. There was a point in time where if you had $4 million, you were high on the hog, man. Now it's nothing. First of all, I want to say congratulations to Russell Wilson because he definitely deserved a payday. When you start looking at a lot of the guys that have been getting a lot of their big paydays, Matthew Stafford, how many playoff games has Matthew Stafford even won? Matt Ryan has at least been to a Super Bowl. Russell Wilson and company went to back-to-back Super Bowls. Aaron Rodgers has a Super Bowl ring, but he's been hurt really bad over the last few years. Tom Brady is kind of on the bottom rung when you look at it in terms of what he's making from the New England Patriots. I think it's $11 million per year, if I remember correctly. So when you look at that and you go, well, at least Russell is somewhat deserving of this, or very deserving, I should say, because when you look at the last few years for the Seattle Seahawks since their back-to-back Super Bowl runs, he's basically carried that football team. The Legion of Boom no longer exists. The defense is not near what it was. He doesn't have beast mode anymore. When you look at the receiving core and the guys that are around him that continuously get injured, the poor offensive line play, Russell has been carrying that football team. And I know to a lot of people, they hear these numbers and they go, who's worth that kind of money? And I remember about a year or two ago when Steph Curry got his payday, one of the things that I talked about was when it comes to what is an athlete worth, there is more to it than just what the capabilities are on the field and what they mean to a football team on the field. It's off the field revenue as well. You look at jersey sales, you look at why they're going to the games, you look at playoff money, TV money, sponsorships, and they're able to do all this because of Russell Wilson. He has been the clear face of that organization. He plays larger than life. When you look at how Russell Wilson plays, you look at his size, there are a lot of people that were skeptical about allowing Russell Wilson in. As a matter of fact, during the time when the Seahawks won their first Super Bowl, if I remember correctly, Russell was an $800,000 a year quarterback. Charlie Whitehurst, if I remember correctly, was making more money than he was. I think it was $1.8 million, and that was to be his backup. So when you look at what Russell Wilson has accomplished and how he's really come into his own, how he's developed as a player, how his leadership in the locker room has progressed, Russell is the guy. And I don't think there's really any debate about it. There's no bones about who Russell Wilson is to the Seattle Seahawks. And come on, did you really think they were going to let him go? And I like the idea that Russell took command of the situation. I've talked about this before with Le'Veon Bell. I've talked about it before with Antonio Brown. I haven't always necessarily liked the approach, but I like the idea of athletes taking their own financial future into their own hands, as they should. They should take their own financial future into their hands. Tomorrow is not promised as an athlete, and I think that we all are aware of that by now. And Russell's getting to that point where, of course, here in a couple of years, he's probably going to start thinking about retirement. This last 4-year deal is probably going to be the last that we see of Russell Wilson, at least with the Seattle Seahawks. But in the meantime, what he's accomplished for that football team, he's worth the value. He's worth the value financially. And I wouldn't call this a risk in terms of Russell Wilson himself as an athlete. It is a risk, however, because, and as we've seen, it's going to be very difficult for him to be able to maneuver now, or the organization, I should say, and get that big money free agent, get that big round, first round draft pick and give them a lot of first round money. Those things are going to be complicated. But a very good organization will figure out a way to structure the contract so that way they can do these things. I think this is good for the organization. And I think that if you're a Seahawks fan, you should be breathing a sigh of relief when all is said and done. Russell is a good enough quarterback to make average athletes around him look like phenomenal athletes. He's that good. And I don't think that there should be any discrepancies whatsoever about the kind of money that they're making. To me, if you are concerned with that, then this is only symptomatic of the NFL needing to raise the standard in terms of what they are able to pay. And each organization should be able to set their own salary cap, period. You look at the NBA, you look at Major League Baseball, these guys get paid massive amounts of money for a reason. There used to be an off season. There's really not anymore. Being a football player, an athlete in general, is really a 24/7 job. Because I remember growing up as a kid, it was always a big thing about, man, so-and-so's off-season regiment is really good. And we're really proud of that regiment, right? Don't we remember back when Mike Shanahan was the coach of Washington and allegedly there were guys showing up that were not in shape and so they weren't going to play? So your off-season workout is no longer an off-season. You're a 24/7 athlete, and that is all there is to it. And I personally take the standard, or the standpoint, I should say, that the NFL needs to start working better deals with these salary caps. It should be up to the organization. It should be up to them to set their own standard, because you have guys that you lose as a result of your financial incapability to keep somebody. You look at Antonio Brown, and a lot of people will say he may be an issue in the locker room for the Oakland Raiders this coming season, given the beef that he's created with Juju Smith-Schuster. Okay, so if they don't want to keep somebody like that, it shouldn't be due to financial capability. It should be due to, we don't know if this guy really meshes well with our team anymore. We don't know if he's the type of athlete and team player to get us to where we want to go anymore. Those should be the standards, not what I'm capable of financially. I should be able to make the decision of how big of a check I want to write for an athlete, period. And guys like Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers and Matt Ryan, while I may not agree with the type of money that everybody's getting paid, because it's all about how the organization values their worth and not necessarily you or I, but they are leading the way to hopefully change that and make it to where every individual team should go, you know what? I want to pay this guy this amount of money, and I'm going to be able to do it, and I want to do it. And that's what it should be. We should be able to create our own wealth. And that's what Russell Wilson and guys like him are doing right now in the NFL. And I hope it's a trend that continues to move forward. Guys, I am Drew Duncan, host of the Full Court Press. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram is all at Drew Duncan 83. Don't forget to use the hashtag Don't You Dare Touch That Dial when you share this post. And as always, don't you dare touch that dial.